Hi, welcome to Voiceover Startup. And this is more than anything just an experiment. This is my first time actually doing a live stream. So I don't know if anyone will join. I just want to see how it works. Hello, welcome to Voiceover Startup. I am just experimenting. I've never done a live session before, so I just thought I'd try a live session and talk to myself. That's probably what it will be. But if you join, please hop over to the chat and say hi and let me know where you're from. But I wanted to kind of talk about what got me into voiceover. And if you are thinking about doing voiceover and are new to the field, I'd love to hear from you. I've only been doing it for a few years now. I started at the end of 2017, and it's still a sideline, right? I have a full-time job and am working, in a career, but this is something that I've always been interested in and jumped in a few years ago, and it's been a great little sideline. I typically make anywhere from about $500 to about $1,000 a month. My best month so far has been about $1,500, and my first few months were just very meager, right? But that's how you start out. You start small. But it's been a lot of fun. And one of the things that makes this possible is the internet. When I started out, I worked in radio beginning in about 1985, and I did that for about 10 years. But during that time, 85 to about 95, if you wanted to do voiceover, I mean, you had to live in a major market area. I mean, you had to live in New York or Los Angeles or Chicago. And the idea of doing voiceover from your home was just unheard of because it would require thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And of course, the pie was a lot smaller then. And really what you had was radio. You could do stuff for radio, for TV. There wasn't much corporate voiceover work available, but the internet literally changed all of that. It completely changed the playing field. And it meant now with this advent of new technology, new platforms, there was an opportunity for regular Joes like you and me to get into this field. And fortunately, the barriers to entry got much lower. And what used to cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars is now only a couple $100s. And you can have everything you need to do to start making money doing voiceovers. And so that's how I started. I had heard about, kind of funny, I was on YouTube, right, wasting my time watching videos, and I came across this guy named Bill DeWeese. And he was a voiceover coach, and he started to tell his story, how he had worked in radio and he had worked in marketing and had worked in training, a lot of the same things that I had done. His resume was much like mine, only a lot better, right? But I'm like, well, hey, this guy, that sounds familiar. And he talked about being laid off, and I worked for technology companies, and right when the .com bubble burst in 2001, 2002, I was laid off. I worked for 4 different companies in about a 5-year period, which was pretty normal for folks in that industry. And he was in a situation where he was laid off. And oftentimes things like a layoff, something that looks like bad news, can wind up being a great opportunity. And he took advantage of that, and he talked about that. And his whole spiel is that, you can earn a 6-figure income in voiceover world. Well, I'm not there yet, right? But it would be nice to kind of be your own boss and be able to do that. So I watch one of these videos, and what I like about Bill DeWeese is he's inspirational more than anything. Is he gets you to think doing things that maybe you hadn't thought about doing. And I admire that about him. And so I thought, I'm going to give this a try. And I heard about this site called Fiverr, which is a freelance site. It's free, right? There's what they call pay to play sites. And that's where you actually have to have a membership to use these sites. And then with the hope being that you'll get some work through it. Well, Fiverr's free. So Fiverr, anyone can sign up. You can put a profile up there and offer your services. And it's not just for voiceover. I mean, voiceover is a very teeny small part of what happens on Fiverr. Graphic artists, copywriters, SEO, pretty much anything. If you need someone to play the guitar for you, okay, you can find someone on Fiverr to do that. But I put out a profile. I bought for $100 off Amazon.com the Behringer podcast bundle that came with a little mixer and a little USB interface and a microphone and a little mic stand and headphones, everything you needed to start in podcasting, not necessarily voiceover. But I bought that realizing I'd probably need a better mic. So I did. I upgraded for about $60. I bought a Marantz Condenser Mic, which is a great little mic. I actually loaned it to my friend who's using it right now. And so with that, actually, before I even got the Marantz, I was using a Shure SM57. Might even have it back here. Oh, I don't see it. But the SM57 is the old workhorse mic, usually used to mic instruments. You put it in front of a drum or a guitar amp or whatever. It's also the microphone that's used in the presidential podium, the SM57. They're actually great mics. So I actually used that for my first few jobs, and also downloaded Audacity. And so I was going through the learning process. I kind of knew how to use Audacity because I use it for work, and I did some voiceover, actually quite a bit of voiceover stuff at work. So I was kind of familiar with the process. But I started out on Fiverr, and it was the funniest thing. The first few days, I'm checking my Fiverr. You can go in and look for buyer offers, people looking for, I want someone to record a 4,000 word script for $5. Okay. A bunch of cheapskates trying to get you to do stuff. And so at the beginning, I'm just applying for everything. I'm offering to do, I'll do 500 words for $5, whatever. So my first few jobs were kind of like that, and I can remember I was actually at church on Sunday, and my phone, I got an alert on my phone, and it was someone from Fiverr who had hired me to do a job for $5. And I was so excited. I skipped out on church. I left church early, came home so I could record this for $5. And I did it. And that was my first job. Then I got another job where I made like $40. So my first month, I made like $45. Yeah, I think it was $45 in my first month. Excuse me. And that was it. That was the beginning from there. So it kind of went up from there. This was in, end of November 2017. So by the end of December, I had made like $45. And, by March, I was making $300 a month. So it ramped up really quick. I got a lot of little $5 jobs, and I was too cheap. I would do like 200 words for $5, and that's way too cheap. I don't do that anymore. But it got my foot in the door, and it got me, familiar with the process going through Fiverr. I then started on Upworks. I cannot recommend Upworks. You can watch some of my other videos where I talk about Upworks. Just not a good place to work for a freelancer, at least not in my opinion. It was way too many hoops to jump through. They charge you for everything. They don't charge you to post and be on there, but anytime you apply for a job, a gig, they charge you. They hold that out. It's like a quarter, 25 cents, which adds up. If you're applying for a lot of jobs and then you get one, they're going to hold that all out, all those jobs you apply for. So just nickel and diming you, and it just not a good option, in my opinion. But I did do some work on Upworks. In fact, I got 2 or 3 really good audiobook jobs through Upworks. And what I found with Upwork is you tend to make a little more per job, but you don't get near as much work. So with Fiverr, you maybe didn't get as much per job, but you were staying a lot busier. So I do the majority of my stuff through Fiverr. I've done a few jobs through ACX, audiobooks. In fact, I need to check on those because I haven't, I've been busy enough with Fiverr that I haven't really even applied for anything in ACX. ACX is interesting because there's a royalty share option. And I made the mistake of doing a couple of royalty shares. What that means is they don't pay you anything up front, but then you get half of the royalties, which sounds good. But most of the people that do royalty share do it because they have crappy books that no one is going to read, right? I mean, so of the 2 long royalty share, I've done a lot of short if I can do them in 30 minutes for royalty share, why not? I haven't even checked I might go in and check and I might have $100 waiting for it. I doubt it, but it could be. But I did a few long royalty shares. I mean, where we're talking, 4 or 5 hours of recorded audio, which means probably 10 hours of work on my part, that were royalty share. And of course, there are books that no one's going to buy. People write and maybe their mom buys a copy of it or whatever. But I think last I checked, I'd made like $13 from a royalty share. But what you can do in ACX is not every job is that way. Some of them they're offering right off the bat, $200 to $400 per finished hour, whatever, and you just pick. Obviously, those are a lot more competition for those books, and for a new voiceover artist, probably a little tougher to get, but you can definitely do that. That was kind of my first year. That was what I was doing, was a lot of audio books. And I think to this day, I probably have about 25, 27 audiobooks that are published on, Amazon, ACX, Audible platform. And it's great experience. And the nice thing about audiobooks is you make a lot of money, but they take a long time. And what I've found is I enjoy the shorter jobs, where I'm getting $20, but it's taking me 5 minutes to do. I like to do the short, quick ones because I don't have much of an attention span. But the opportunities are out there for someone who wants to be a voiceover artist. And I'll have friends that when they find out I do voiceover, that would be so much fun, but I don't have the voice for it. And I always say, there is no voice for voiceover. I mean, anyone can be a voiceover artist. I really believe that. I think if you learn to read with some emotion and some dynamics, I don't think the voice is as important as people think it is. I sure do not have a radio voice. I have a normal voice. So yeah, I mean, if you're able to read well and read with dynamics and emotion when necessary, I don't think the voice is really important. I mean, there are famous voiceover people who have speech impediments, right? And that's part of what makes them, unique. But they're good readers, and they can come across in the right way that their clients want. And that's what's important. And it's an exciting time now because the equipment's so cheap. You could seriously you could be making voiceovers for less than $150 investment. I really believe that. You need a semi-good mic. You need a laptop, but you probably already have a laptop or computer. You need some type of editing software. Audacity is free. It's a free download. So really, I mean, that's all there is. Some people start in their closet. You need to be in a quiet place, a dead, not a lot of echo, not a lot of noise, boominess, that sort of thing. But anyone could do it. And so what I always tell people when they ask me if they're really, they say they're interested, and I say, are you really interested? And I say, yeah. I said, well, You're going to be doing it tomorrow. What do you mean? And I tell them about Fiverr. I tell them, here's what you need. You need a microphone. You need a you need a USB interface, right? So you can, go from your mic to your computer. You need some type of editing software, and that's about it. Headphones. Buy all that used, go to a pawn shop, get all that. And if they really want to do it, they could do it. They could get into it. And my main market has been audiobooks. And then after that, it's YouTube. A lot of folks want people to narrate their YouTube projects. So I've done a lot of YouTube projects, a lot of e-learning, for companies that need to have either an e-learning module made or some type of corporate presentation. So I've done e-learning modules on hydraulics, on sales, on, computer tech support. Some of these I'm reading about these. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm putting together training on those, and those are always kind of fun. I've done some projects on kind of these self-improvement programs, you name it, I've done it. And it's kind of fun. And it's nice to have your own business, right? If something went south at work, if I lost my job, I could put more effort into this, and I could probably grow this into my regular job. I'm not comfortable enough yet to do that by choice. But if something were to happen, if I was out of work, I'd just say, okay, that's what happened to Bill DeWeese. That's what forced him to kick it into high gear and really make it a career. And I would probably try to do the same. And maybe I'd have to deliver pizzas on the side too until I got up to speed, but that's okay. Anyways, hey, thanks for joining me. I just wanted to talk for a minute in this live session. And again, mostly just to get familiar with this live session function. And I'll see how it turns out. And it might be something that I want to do again. But thanks for watching. We'll see you. Bye-bye.